Welcome to TMC. We are at the training facility here in Ankeny, Iowa. My name is Jeff Geist, and I am one of the training managers here at the training facility. We're going to go through what we do here today as far as our processes at the training center. TMC has been training drivers for almost 30 years, and we have two facilities, one here in Ankeny, Iowa, and one in Columbia, South Carolina. We bring drivers in from all over the country to these two facilities to go through our training process, which could be anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks in orientation, and then they're out with a driver trainer anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. Today we are going to go through how that process works and introduce you to the different aspects of our orientation process and training. The first step is drivers come in for orientation, which is primarily classroom setting. They will come in and take a physical, go through a medical clearance, which any driver needs to do for DOT. And then they will be taking various tests and going through different segments of classroom, learning different aspects of the job and our company policy. Also during that time they will be introduced to our simulators, which is getting them introduced to the truck and how the trucks operate, gives them some idea of how that works. From there they will move on to our load securement segment of orientation. In that segment they are going to get hands-on experience with working on loads, securing loads, handling the equipment and tarps and whatnot. And we evaluate them through that process as well to make sure this is going to work for them. Once they've completed the load securement, which could consist anywhere from 2 to 3 days, they will move on to our yard training segment, which in that portion of the orientation they will be on the road driving a truck. They will be in our backing yard, actually backing the truck and going through maneuvers, getting familiar and comfortable with the equipment. We spend a lot of time working with drivers through this time to get them familiar with the equipment before they move on to a driver trainer, which is over-the-road training. So once they complete the orientation process, they will be introduced to a training coordinator. That coordinator will be their point of contact from the time they leave orientation until they get into their own truck. They will develop a personal relationship with that coordinator. That coordinator will be there to handle any kind of questions, any concerns, and they will also be evaluating how their process, how they progress through the process and adapt to the job and the company. So once they have completed that process, which again could be anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, they will come back to a terminal and go through what we call a release process, which is testing if they are required to do a road test at the end of training, and just some paperwork to get them introduced to going on to the next step to get into their truck. At that time too, they will be introduced to a fleet manager, which is going to be their point of contact once they get on their own in their own truck. Thanks for taking the time to check out TMC. We've been in the industry for 50 years. We are a premier flatbed company. We have great equipment, we have great people. This is the place to be if you want to be trucking. So check us out.